Passionate Living on WBBZ TV is sponsored by Dr. Todd Shatkin, Western New York's leader in general and cosmetic dentistry, located at the Aesthetic Associates Center, 2500 Kensington Avenue. Online at drtshatkin.com.
Welcome to this week's episode of Passionate Living. We have an exciting adventure today that I'm so happy to share with you. First, we're going to meet an amazing woman, Sprite Loriano, and she's going to be joining us from Ecuador. She'll share a little bit about her new television show called Awakening Giants that she's doing with Jack Canfield, author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Awakening Giants is a little bit like Passionate Living on steroids. Next, we're going to go to Revolution Gallery, and we're going to hear one of my favorite bands, the Hot Club of Buffalo, who plays wonderful gypsy jazz. But first, we're going to meet a man whose passion for aviation brought us an air show in Western New York this year that we might not have otherwise had. So buckle your seatbelts and join us for a fun-filled adventure of passionate living.
Thanks, Mo. Cleared for takeoff. Hello, ready to go, boss. We're clear for takeoff. The winds are calm. Check your supplement off. Check your trim set. Check your nose, wheel, steering on, maneuver. Stop and out. Keep it off and out. Air off.
Airshow director Ben Canetti, and Ben, you put this together with the help of a whole loyal crew, most likely.
Yeah, it was a heck of an undertaking and one heck of a crew. I mean, the first people I have to thank are, there's a couple people behind the scenes that this airshow never would have happened if they didn't have trust, and they probably hate me right now for getting into this. Everyone's a little tired and burnt out, but they were an amazing team to work with.
Tell me what your inspiration was to really push through and make this show happen this year.
So this is the fourth show I've directed. I directed 3 on the base. I've been involved in the Thunder of Niagara Air Show for 20 years, and it really is a passion. We don't get paid for this, so this is a lot of work. It's stressful as all get out, and making the switch was simply motivated by the fact that these lineups to build these airplanes you saw today, that's not easy to get those. I mean, they're rock star performers, and they're very sought after, and there's a lot of air shows this weekend throughout the country. So when we built that lineup and we found out we couldn't host on the base anymore, we didn't want to disappoint the community, and it was this or nothing at all. So we brought it down here to Buffalo and figured we'd showcase the waterfront.
Well, it's really amazing how you used your passion to make a difference today in the community to bring this air show and make it happen this year when it might not have.
Yeah, absolutely. I was sworn in the Air Force in 1992 by the Air Force Thunderbirds commander right before I left for basic training. So that was my first take on air shows, and I was a wide-eyed kid, and 28 years later, I'm still doing it.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
We are just super ecstatic to have been a part of the first Thunder over Buffalo waterfront, or Thunder on the Buffalo waterfront air show here in Buffalo. And I mean, the weather has been amazing today and Friday. Obviously, we had a little fall through yesterday, but the people, the hospitality, everything's been amazing. So it's been a great show.
That last breakout that they did oh my God, that was worth the whole show right there. That was so extraordinary. It probably never gets old for you, does it?
It does not, and seeing the smiles on people's faces, the reactions in the local community makes it all worth it as we do this, week in and week out. But it's a beautiful sight to see when the local hometown enjoys the air show and the flight demonstration.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Very welcome.
Today, I want to introduce you to an amazing woman, soul sister Sprite Loriano. She is a visionary humanitarian, and the work that Sprite does in the world is just astounding. She is launching a transformational television show entitled Awakening Giants, and she has also done a plethora of extraordinarily moving humanitarian work in the world that I want to talk with her about today, and also how she got started on her path. Welcome to Passionate Living, Sprite. It's so great to have you here today.
Thank you, Kat. I'm so excited to be here with you as well. It's been so great to meet you.
Thank you. Could you tell me a little bit about this new show you have on?
Absolutely. It's a giant project. So, yeah. So Awakening Giants is like you said, it's a transformational TV show that is really highlighting the incredible works of aspiring and veteran leaders around the world. We really focus on people, especially who are making great ripples and change on the planet in their own way, but are really unknowns. And so our giants, that's our cast, travel the world with us, experiencing once in a lifetime transformational change for themselves through the adventures that we put them through. We'll be launching our first season this year and moving back into production. So excited.
That is so wonderful. I'm so excited about that. So these are already people who are making changes, that are already involved in that world.
Well, our giants really are from all walks of life. Most of them are entrepreneurial. They are coaches, healers, trainers. They're also humanitarians. Some of them have their own nonprofits. So it's really a very wide net of people that we call change makers, because the thing is that, you know, when you're a leader, you can be a leader in a lot of different ways. You can be a leader in your community. You can be a leader in your family. So our youngest giant was actually 18. And our oldest giant was 76. And I think it's important for people to recognize that no matter how we might look on the outside, successful or whatever, wherever we are, when it's time to create change, when it's time to take ourselves to that greater fulfillment in our life, that greater legacy that we can leave behind, there is always something that we need to overcome next. And so it's like the destination, there's never like a end destination, right? Like we're always on that journey of really becoming our greatest possibility, our greatest self. And that's what Awakening Giants is really here to inspire, ignite, activate within our audience and our community.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Now, how did you get into this world? What did you do before you watched The Secret and got inspired to become this visionary humanitarian? What was your journey up to that point?
When I was 31, I had been living penthouse large, $2 million company, and I lost everything within a year of starting that company. So I ended up going bankrupt. I got divorced. It was like everything that could happen to me in 1 year. It was like bam, 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 bam. I ended up, on a girlfriend's couch, and that was my awakening, my wake-up call. And I actually was in meditation one day, and I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do next? Because it was like everything I tried to do from before wouldn't work. And so I knew that meant God was trying to tell me something. And in meditation, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And I heard a voice that said, what did you always want to do that you didn't do because of your ego? And the very first thing that flew out of my mouth audibly, and I had to catch it back, was waitressing. And I was like, what? I ended up waitressing for 2 years, and it was the best decision of my life. That's where I say I discovered my purpose of service. And it gave me time to dive into discovering I was an artist, and took acting classes and started writing and doing all this other stuff that I never did before.
Now, you've done a lot of humanitarian work through the years. Can you tell me about your other projects?
Sure. Yeah, I really began my humanitarian journey in 2006 when the movie The Secret came out. A lot of your listeners might remember that movie. And I was inspired by Jack Canfield's story in that movie, actually, of when he was a school teacher and he went from 8,000 to 100,000 in 1 year. And it so inspired me. And over the course of 3 days, I started having these visions, and the vision became to feed 3 million children in 33 days. I had no idea how to do that. I've never done anything like that before. I'd never raised money before, or didn't know the first thing about it, but I just knew it. Like, I knew it in my bones. I knew it in my cells that I needed to do that. And I met Jack Canfield actually at a live event, and I went up to him and said, "Hey, Jack, I was inspired by your story in The Secret, and I'm supposed to feed 3 million children in 33 days. Do you want to help?" And he said, "Sure, sounds like fun." And so that's pretty much how it happened. And so within
That sounds like Jack.
Yeah. So within 6 months, I had a board put together. I, pulled a lot of people together in support. And we ended up feeding 1.2 million children in 33 days. So excuse me. So that's what started my journey.
That is beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. And the reason I share that with you is because I think a lot of people sometimes get frustrated or don't feel really like they can create a big impact.
Right.
And what I always know is that we create the best impact when we bring forces together, when we bring numbers of people together. It's not just about me. It's not me writing a check. It's not me having to do it all. Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group can change the world. In fact, that's, the only thing that ever has. And so that's the thing that I've always been good at, is inspiring people to come together and do something as a group.
So Sprite, where can we see this show? I'm so excited to watch it.
Okay, what I like to say is everywhere. Yeah, we're going to be everywhere. We will be on Amazon. We'll be on lots of different streaming platforms. So right now we have already distribution in place for about 200 million streaming devices, and we're just getting started. So we'll, by the time we launch, we actually launch our episodes in October of 2021. And so by that time, exactly. It should be able to find it on almost all of your streaming platforms.
If you had somebody who was listening today, who's on the brink, they're right there. They've been wanting to live their passions. Now COVID, more than ever, has gotten them to really rethink their life, but they're still working the same job. They're still doing the same thing. They're afraid, what will I do on the other side? What if the money doesn't come? What if this happens? What is this? And all of the fears that keep them in that place of not doing what they came here to do, their true heart's passion. What would you tell them?
Well, the first thing I would say is to believe in that voice. Believe in that voice that is calling you to something greater. It's calling you to greater joy. It's calling you to greater passion and purpose. And so believe in it and trust in it. And when you trust in it, the universe shows up and the universe provides you with the next step. Sometimes you just have to first make that decision that you're going to listen and trust, and then you see the next step ahead of you. So I would say that. And then I would say to come to awakeninggiants.tv and join our community so that we can support your journey along the way and connect you with tools and people and resources that can inspire you, that can help engage you in, waking up those parts inside of you that are waiting to be enlivened. And yeah, so those would be my two things. And reach out to me. I'll give you my information. I'm happy to have people reach out to me directly. And I have a great network. I have wonderful resources, and I'm happy to share them with people.
That's beautiful. That's very generous, and it's so inspiring to hear you talk, Sprite. It's just what a remarkable journey you've been on, and like I say, the best is yet to come with this new project. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you, Kat. I'm so grateful to just be here with you and to be honored by you, sharing the word. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is the greatest place, guys. I love it. I have never been here before, and it's a gallery, wine, music, it's everything.
Thank you. Well, welcome to the gallery. And it's really wonderful to be open after the last year or so with the pandemic. The fact that we're still a local business that's thriving now after being closed for a certain amount of time, and that we're still able to have art and artists.
We opened 4.5 years ago with the idea of bringing pop surrealism, contemporary figurative artwork to Buffalo. We're both working artists as well as gallerists, so we show national, international artists that do pop surrealism. Really a lot of fun. And we opened a wine bar so that we could have really good glasses of wine and look at the artwork.
So really, it's like your own gathering, your own party right here, your own house party.
I think so, because it is our own space to have and enjoy, because we schedule events that we no longer can go out and see because we're working here every weekend. So we make sure we schedule things that we're really excited to see and music we want to hear.
So thank you so much, guys. This is a wonderful place, and it's so beautiful that you're using your passion for art and music and wine to lift your community around you.
Well, thank you so much. We're really happy to be here, and thank you, and welcome to the gallery.
Well, I'm with one of my favorite bands. I love you guys. I heard you play over at Pausa, and now we're at Revolution Gallery tonight. And I just love what you do. And it's Gypsy Jazz, Django Reinhardt type of music, and I can't wait to hear you guys play tonight. But I'd love to get a little background. How long have you been together?
Sure. So we got together 8-9 years ago, right, guys?
That sounds right.
Yeah. So there were a few changes around town in terms of a few groups shuffling around, configurations changing. A few of the band members of Babik went to do other things, and at the same time, I had a different band doing some similar music, and I was happy to get the call from Kevin and Josh to possibly play in this new group that we eventually called the Hot Club of Buffalo.
Who came up with the name the Hot Club of Buffalo?
That was me. So the Hot Club of Buffalo harkens back to Django Reinhardt, right? So his band was called the Quintet of the Hot Club of France. So this is considered hot jazz at the time. There's hot clubs all over the world.
Right.
And really, what my intention was when we started this band was to make it a revolving cast of characters that would just play hot jazz. So commonly, the music that we play is commonly known as Gypsy Jazz today. So it's evolved into this, jazz manouche in Europe, they call it. But it was invented and created by one guy named Django Reinhardt. And Django was a guitar player who was famous in the 30s and 40s, who was tragically burned in a fire and crippled. His left fretting hand only had the use of 2 fingers and a thumb, which is an incredible story. And consequently went on to be the undisputed greatest guitar player that's ever lived. This is not up for debate. This is like the truth.
really fill up a room. Now, tell me a little bit, you're the bass, you hold the bottom end together in this band.
I'm the bass player, yes. I do hold down the low end. I've been playing with this fellow here, Josh, for quite a long time. As we referenced earlier, we came from a band called Bobby. The other couple players in the band went their own way, but we wanted to keep going and playing this music because we really loved it. And we were just so fortunate to have someone who's joined us and pretty much immediately just start playing this music and making it sound good. And on the far end there, our violinist, very fortunate that he was in the area too. All four of us together, we make up the Hot Club of Buffalo, and we're having a great time, and we like to bring this great time to our audiences.
For anybody out there that is watching that loves music and has a passion for it and has not stepped into it, maybe they're insecure, maybe they're doubting themselves, whatever, what would you tell them about stepping into their passions?
So first of all, I want to dispel the mystery or the myth that, you know, you have to have a gift to be able to play a musical instrument. It's not true. You just have to put forth effort. There are certainly gifted players out there, and they do things that most people can't. But really the thing is to just pick up the instrument every day. And the thing is, you have a best friend for life. As long as it's not a piano, you can bring it to the beach, you can bring it everywhere with you. You'll be good before you know it, and there's so many different levels of good. Like you've heard Bob Dylan play guitar. It's not that good, but he made a whole life on that. So just pick it up. Just make that first step.
Dean, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And again, guys, you are just a testament to living your passions here with this band, and it shows. I mean, like, you can hear it when you play. It just lights everybody in the audience up. It's beautiful. Thanks. Thank you for joining us on today's very special adventure of Passionate Living. We hope you enjoyed our inspiring guests and are fueled by their commitment to living their dreams and using those dreams to uplift the world around them. A special thanks to our sponsors, Dr. Todd Shatkin and Associates. Their generous support makes this show possible. As well, I want to take a moment to thank our crew and our supporters, and most importantly, I want to thank you for joining us each week on this amazing ride of Passionate Living. Remember to view Passionate Living on Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. Plus, you can view former Passionate Living shows on our YouTube channel at passionateliving.tv or on our website at passionateliving.com. And wherever you are right now, I want you to take a moment and give yourself a huge hug and remember the amazing soul that you are. There's no one like you in this world with your special talents, little lovable or not so lovable quirks, and your particular passions. You are one of a kind, and I want to remind you to love, forgive, and nurture yourself each and every day. It's those little sacred moments of self-love that we fill ourselves up with that we're able to go out and spread that light into the world around us. Thanks again for watching Passionate Living, and as I often say in the close of this show, if you believe you can, you can. And if you believe you can't, you can't. So believe you can and watch what happens in your life. I'm sending you a great big hug and look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Passionate Living.